I got plateaued out on like happiness of making money, on happiness of like, whatever I would build within the brand, whatever it was. But I was like, what is it about like certain brands that just stick out so much? And then like, how could I incorporate that into mine? I actually created this thing where it's now my mission and values for the company now is to build a community of people who are built different. And not necessarily aesthetically speaking, but all the different decisions that you make that make you get different results than other people. Because I want people to get uncommon results from making uncommon decisions. So literally every single time that you have a decision in front of you that 99% of the people are gonna take, I want you to make the 1% decision, because those different decisions get the different results. So every time I even start a weekly group call with everybody in one-on-one, I'm like, you guys all know that you're different here, right? And every single person who's new right now, your goal from this call is to make sure that after this, you do not make the same decisions that you've been making.
Hello, dreamers. Today, we're bringing you a story packed with resilience, grit, and relentless determination. Meet Ryan Fischer, the unstoppable force behind Chalk Performance Training, an app-based fitness program with over 40,000 members and 12 powerful training programs. With over 200,000 body transformations under his belt, Ryan is on a mission to make the world a fitter place. But Ryan's journey wasn't a smooth one. From competing in the Winter Olympic trials to facing homelessness and crashing on friends' couches, his path was filled with challenges. Yet, instead of being defined by those setbacks, Ryan turned them into fuel for building his brand, one forged in sheer perseverance. Join us as we dive into Ryan's incredible journey, a story of pushing limits, turning passion into purpose, and inspiring thousands to reach their peak performance. This is more than just fitness. It's a story of a man who embodies relentless pursuit of greatness.
How did you pivot from the gym to that app? Like, what was that process like? Like, how did you know, like, I want to start this app and this is what I'm going to start doing?
Yeah, so like essentially, I started off with ebooks. I just like launched an ebook first. And literally, I had no idea how to do anything online at all. I literally was just running the gym. I was a world-class athlete, all these things, right? And then it literally just went from like, okay, I'm going to make this ebook because I was dating a girl who was sponsored by Shreds at the time.
I remember. I know who you're talking about.
And she was like, I'm going to have you come to a meeting with me. Like, you can meet all these other athletes and stuff like that. Like, you'll really enjoy it. And I was like, okay, cool. And I went. And then I remember seeing all these people pull up in like Lambos, Rolls Royce, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And I remember being like, because the girl's name was Nikki. I was like, Nikki, what the fuck do all these people do? Because they were like super young. And she's like, oh, he does like challenges. She does like this, that. It was like Paige Hathaway and Devin and like all these, and like Joey Swole, all these people that are still really, really big. And I remember just being like, well, how does that work? And then like I went and like bought one of their programs one day. It was like $100 or something. I was like, fuck it, I just want to see what it's like. And I was like, this is it? I was like, this is what they're doing? And I was like, I'll make one tomorrow. And then like I only had like 8,000, 10,000 followers at the time. And all these people wanted to buy it. And I went in my DMs and I'd be like, all right, well, send me a Venmo or a PayPal to this address and then screenshot it to me and then I'll send it back to you. So I'd be on my phone all day, just boom, 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 and making $30 I was doing on it, right? Mm-hmm. But I would be making like $2-3 grand like a day, just sitting there going fucking mental on my phone. And then I had a coach at the gym. I wasn't telling anyone this yet. I don't think anyone in the gym even knew. I don't think even my close friends, I don't think anyone knew how much money I was making until I had like $1 million in my bank account, like full liquid cash after taxes, everything. I had like $1 million in my account and I didn't tell anyone. And then at that point.
And that was all through the DMs, like to get there. Like you didn't even have like a legit.
No, I had.
Okay.
I'll get to that in a second, but it started with the DM situation. And then a coach at my gym was like, dude, what are you doing all day? And I was like, I'm just like making people buy the book through like Venmo or PayPal. He's like, dude, you can just fucking put a link on a website and it'll just give it to them. And I was like, what? And then I'm like, you're telling me I have to do this all day? And then he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, I can make that for you. He's like, yeah. And he made websites and stuff for a living. So I was like, dude, I absolutely need that. So then we put it together and then that went on. And then it didn't make nearly as much as like me personally selling them, but it was like, I had my life back. So that was good. And then I remember doing a bunch of podcasts and I had met a girl who was like one of the top trainers for Barry's Bootcamp. And she was making like $200 a class, like, which to me was insane because like when you coach a class, you get like $30, you know, it's like, it wasn't a lot of money. And then she quit it to be all online. And I was like, you're quitting $200 a class to be online? Like, what is that? What part of you thinks that's like a good idea? And she's like, well, I made like 40 grand last month. And then I was like, wait, what? I was like, $48,000 in a month? And then she's like, yeah. And then I was like, how are you doing that? And then she's like, oh, I did this and blah, blah, blah. And she's telling me about running ads and stuff. And then when the podcast was over, I was like, do you mind like introducing me to whoever runs your ads? I'm like, I'm going to be making completely different programs than you. Like, she makes pregnancy programs. And then she's like, yeah, sure. And she hits me up, gives me the lady. And then the lady, she had worked for other big company, and she was working for this person that I had on my podcast, like specifically on the side. And then I was like, do you have time to just like work with me on the side too a little bit? And she's like, yeah, sure. Like, I don't know how much time I have, but like, we'll see how it's going to work. And then I remember giving her like my first like $4 grand to run ads. And then like my return,
What did that feel like?
I got 40 grand back from the $4 grand. And I remember she billed me. I didn't know what her bill was going to be genuinely. She just like, oh, it's going to be X amount an hour or something. And her bill was $4 grand and I made 40. And I was like, I'm giving this bitch $8 grand. And then she was like, did you pay me for 2 months up front? And I was like, no, you can just have it. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I have all the money in the world now.
Thank you.
I'm like, you can just fucking, like, I thought once I made like 50 grand in a month, I was like, oh, I'm like the richest person in Newport. I'm like, I can go live anywhere. Like, it was just such an astronomical, crazy amount of money.
It was outside of the realm of like what you could even like comprehend, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it's like once you get it going and you just have like these evergreen programs that are like live online and you're fucking in different countries and shit's just selling on your website, you're like, damn, like I could, like, you kind of get hooked and addicted to it, right?
It compounds and compounds and compounds like everything else.
Well, I literally just thought it was just such an insane, I just couldn't fathom how much money it was. So I was just like, well, you should have some of it. I was like, I don't even need this much money. This is just an insane amount of money, you know?
How long did you work with her for?
Years, like 4 or 5 years maybe. And then
so after that, you just invested more and more and more, and your return was greater and greater and greater every time? Or was there like a lot of trial and error?
The ads keep getting more and more expensive, so I spend more to almost make around the same, to be fair.
Got it.
So now I would say, even now, like, I spend like 500 grand a month on ads now. And like, I don't make that much more net profit really, but I do have a massive revenue or recurring revenue base.
Mm-hmm.
So
from the members, just like annual, like our monthly fee they pay?
Yeah. So I have a buddy, maybe you want to have him on the podcast at some point. He owns an app called Fight Camp. They do like 20 to 30 million a year in recurring rev. And they have some hard products as well. They have a boxing bag and boxing gloves and all. Have you ever heard of it?
Yep.
It's pretty big app. So I was talking to him and I was like, hey dude, like, what do I do here? I'm like, I don't want to get to the point where like I'm spending $1 million a month on ads and then like it brings in $1 million a month or whatever. And then I'm just like in the game.
Break even.
Yeah. Which is fine. Cause as soon as you pull ads away, then you just bankroll all of it. Yeah. Like I could pull ads away right now and then just like chill for a few years and like not really do all that much and just bank like millions of dollars. It's not what I want to do. It doesn't sound very fun. But like I could do that. And like, he's like, dude, that is the game. When you get into this kind of thing, it's like recurring revenue at all costs and just keep it rolling and keep it rolling and keep it rolling.
Cash flow.
And then basically at this point, this is when you start to create like other kinds of products. This is why like most people never have like one product, at least in the info space. It's like $30 product, $300 product, $3,000 product. So like this year, or actually no, last year is when I started like one-on-one coaching. Mm-hmm. So now I do the one-on-one coaching. It's like anywhere from like $3 to $5 grand.
How many members do you have doing that?
So I have 2 coaches. And each one of those coaches right now has 50 people each, and they're totally capped.
So 100?
I have 100 in there right now, and like I can literally have unlimited if I just get the right amount of coaches. So I hired a new coach yesterday. He'll be able to take on like another 50. So then I can just keep rolling with that.
I know somebody that you've been talking to recently too. My trainer, Diego.
Diego's good.
Dude, Diego's amazing.
Reliable.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah. He's a cool dude.
He reminds me a lot of you.
I can tell he wants to do it on his own.
He does, but like he looks up to you.
Yeah. He's a really, really nice guy. And I love Kat and all that.
And but he also gets it. Like he gets it. And he just wants to get his foot in the door. Like whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth.
I told him, I'm like, you're welcome to come in and then learn, but like, you got to give me like at least a year. Like, don't screw me over.
Yeah.
That's sweet of you.
That's the worst.
No, but it's
I feel like you've gotten sweeter over the years.
I mean, honestly, I think
that's kind of fucked up statement. It's like a backhanded compliment.
No,
everyone used to be like, yeah, you used to be fucking absolute savage animal, and I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, to be fair, like, I feel like the most important thing, honestly, nowadays, like, I actually don't even really care about money that much anymore. Like, obviously, there's much more to be made, but I can honestly say that, like, the most important thing is, like, who you get to share your time with, I feel like. Like, honestly, like, I want to do, like, I still wake up like a child every day where I'm like, okay, how can I fit in bike riding and paddleboarding and and spend, like, 30 minutes planning my next trip? Yeah. That's my life. Like, you know, I'm friends with, you know, some of the biggest people in the space who make tons and tons and tons of money, and I talk to them, and I'm like, I feel nothing towards them. I'm like, yeah, you can have your $100 million because your life blows. Like, it's just not what I want.
Do you feel like a lot of them are like miserable or happy?
100%.
Yeah.
Or not the same type of people like in front of a microphone as they are in real person.
100%.
Yeah. Like they're not just like cool humans. Like they're like weird when you get in front of them.
You can just tell that the only thing that matters is money. Yeah. And then it's like, when you get there, bro, like you're already gonna, it doesn't matter because they already have made so much that like, it doesn't even, it hasn't changed them now. So it's not going to change them then.
Who were you before like you started all of this? Like before Chalk Performance App, like who was Ryan? What did you do before? How'd you make money?
Well, I mean, I was a trainer. Like I coached at classes at gyms and then eventually trained people. And I think before that, I was a CrossFit athlete. Before that, I was an Olympic athlete. I did a sport called skeleton, which is head first down the bobsled track. And then before that, I was a helicopter pilot. And then before that, I was just a kid living in New Jersey.
Love it.
Actually, half my graduating class right now is probably dead from either fights, drug overdoses. My brother just died about 3 weeks ago from a drug overdose. I just flew home. God,
I'm sorry.
42 years old, heroin overdose, done.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, I was born and raised in Vegas, and growing up in Vegas was like a hard place to grow up too. And I feel like half the people I know literally died from heroin overdoses.
Crazy.
It's so sad.
Like every other week she'll be like, you won't believe this so-and-so person just died from an overdose or fentanyl or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's in the water in Vegas? Like, I can't imagine growing up in a place like Vegas, right? Like, that's your backyard. Like, what did I do? I ran in the canyons and the hills up here in Orange County.
Yeah.
She was running around on the strip.
Little picket, white prairie
I
fence.
podcasted you back in the day. I know your story.
Yeah.
I was one of your first.
Yeah.
On the couch in that little shitty apartment.
Your little apartment.
Dude, I saved up like almost $2 million in that little shitty apartment. Had my same little truck. Amazing. And no one knew a fucking thing.
Good for you, dude.
You would lean on me a little bit.
We've seen the whole thing.
You would lean on me a little bit. I kind of knew what was going on behind the scenes. I think like you and
Preston would be like, how much are you doing? I'd be like, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, but like, instead of, that was the cool thing, was like, you guys were never ever, like, you were like one of, maybe the only ones. Actually, you might have been my only people I could talk to and tell you how much money I was making. And you'd give me like constructive feedback. You'd be like, make sure you do this. Make sure you do like, or save it. Or like, don't buy a Lambo. Yeah. Or like,
do you feel like most people were haters?
Real estate.
I was 99.9% were haters, at least for sure.
Yeah, we were the ones, always cheering you on. And like, obviously,
I appreciate that. Actually, I really needed that. Like, honestly, like, I didn't really have a lot of people that were in my corner. It was really, really bad. Even still, like now, like when I go to the gym, it's Ryan's here, like blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you feel like that's you that thinks that though?
100%. No. Not
like 100%. You.
like it's made up in your mind.
No, it's not made up in my mind for sure.
Yeah, I don't feel that well. Yeah. Every time your name ever comes up,
you're another entrepreneur. It's different.
Yeah. I mean, I guess all of our friends too. Like, to me, it's everything. Like who you surround yourself with. Like, because all of our friends, like I would say, like are, I don't want to say like on our level, or like, I don't know. They get it.
You can
they
have meaningful
it.
Conversations with substance, right? Just like this. Like, yes, we're filming a podcast, but at the same time, like, even if that camera wasn't on, we'd still be having a conversation similar to this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I know 10 conversations we've had with you. Like, just
so for
like
people
this.
that don't know, I've known Ryan for 15 years. Like, I was literally one of the first people at OCCF and then over at Chalk. And like, I kind of helped you open up that gym. We almost got into business together. Mm-hmm. We almost gave you money for Chalk.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. That was nuts. We almost all created a product together. Hello Keto.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Like,
that still probably would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
Dude, the keto bar company that launched like 2 months after that, $100 million in 3 years. Shitty branding.
Yeah.
That would have been a good idea.
I know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But
I feel like your timing though for all of this app stuff was like perfect. You got in like before it was a thing. Because timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
When I started Buff Bake, I feel like it was the perfect timing. And like, because I aligned myself with like not the best partners, like we didn't make it work, you know? And then Spudsy, I feel like I was a little late to the game and the timing wasn't there, you know? So I feel like timing is everything.
I feel like you can see the timing like pretty solid. Yeah. Like I feel like you can see what's happening right now in the industry. Like I don't feel like any of this is like a mystery, especially now with how much social media there is now, and like you just watch what people are doing. Like right now, the big thing is community, right? Like it's so blatantly obvious. Like if you don't think that's a thing, then you're fucking out of your mind, right?
Out of your mind.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna lose.
Yep.
So like, I mean, either make an in-person community, make an online community, like, you know, Alex owns school or Mighty Networks or like one of these things where you have like a community of people.
I paid to be in 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like literally $1,000 annual fee, and I'm in 2 of them.
Yeah.
It is.
That's the thing now. And it's because everybody's just like, they want to surround themselves with more people.
Those are good lessons you've obviously learned from competitors too. Like you look around and see the landscape, you see the storm out in the ocean, like you know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that you've taken and implemented in your own business and have your own spin on. And I think that's a really, really nice lesson for everyone and all of us to learn, is that you can take information from competitors. You don't have to copy them, right? But you can take little tidbits from competitors and implement your own thing.
I mean, a lot of the most successful people in the world, they copy everybody else's shit and their goal is to make it
better.
5% better.
100%.
5%.
Just a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also it's the way that you do it, right? Like people might want to like watch you speak more than me. Obviously a female demographic.
For obvious reasons.
But then like also maybe because you're from Vegas, maybe because, you know, you started your own food brand, but like
because I'm cute?
Because you have nice boobs.
I mean, I don't know. Could be because you're blonde or brunette. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just such a weird thing. Maybe you have fucking front tooth missing. Like, honestly, like, it's like the weirdest shit is why people really like all your stuff. Like, a lot of people like my shit because I didn't know my dad until like last year.
That's so interesting. Because like
people like that shit.
Well, no,
Because they can relate to it.
Yes.
They can relate to it.
They can relate. They can invest in that story.
It's an emotional feeling.
Yes.
Yep.
It's an emotional feeling.
I know. I just hired this this like public speaking coach. Like, not that I want to do public speaking, but he just like helps you kind of create your signature story and like how to tell your story. Because like I'm getting ready to go on all these podcasts, so I wanted to hire somebody. Like I feel like I'm good at talking, but it's like sometimes I get so focused and I just want to talk about business stuff because like that's my life
And that's what she
and
knows.
it's my hobby and it's what I know. But like no one wants to hear that. Like people want to hear like what I went through to get to where I am and like how I did it. And like that I was in the trenches and that I was suffering at one point and I had no money and I didn't make any money for the first 2 years of starting these businesses. And then I lived on nothing. And then finally by like year 4 or 5 is like when I finally started going uphill. Like, and I think that's what people invest in is like they want to hear your failures and they want to hear your story.
So they really want to hear at the end of the day, like what your thought process is. So like for me, like when I started the one-on-one coaching, we'd have these group calls. So to be fair, I don't do any of the one-on-one coaching. I have coaches who do it. So, and then you get to talk to me once a week, only in a group format because I just don't have time. I can't talk to each person. Yeah. It's just impossible. You can't scale that way. So, and to be fair, I actually like it in a group format because I answer someone's question and it pretty much answers like half the other people's questions right out the gate. Yeah. So I go on these little group calls and
is it Zoom?
Yeah, Zoom. It started off as like, oh, here's like the most common mistakes you guys are doing with nutrition. Here's the most common mistakes you're doing with your training, like this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then one day I got like really pissed off at everybody because everybody was like complaining. You know, they're complaining like, oh, you know, I haven't lost any weight this week or this or that and then blah, blah, blah. And I just like lost it. I literally was like, guys, you're a fucking pussy. You fucking overeat every single day. And we know that you do. And the reason that you do is because of this or you do because of this. And then I was just like, you guys have to become the person who has fucking 6-pack abs and literally fucking change your life and start creating the habits and discipline that you need so that you can keep going and going and going and going. If you don't fall in love with the process, you're never going to be able to make this thing fucking work. And I was like, stop thinking about the result, start thinking about the process, start to fall in love with the process, start to fall in love with personal development. I just like went fucking off.
And stay consistent.
And then literally everybody was like, that was awesome. And then like, in the group chat afterwards, everybody was like, dude, more meetings like that. And then honestly, for the last like 3 months now, I haven't even talked about training or nutrition in any of the group calls now.
Just fucking kick their ass for an hour?
I just rip them apart and I tell them like what I'm thinking about, like every single time I go out to eat, every single time that like I go to the gym, like actual thought process of like what someone says to you, like when they're like, oh dude, why don't you just like live a little bit or whatever?
Yeah, just
and like how to respond to that. I'm like, oh, does my discipline like bother you? Is that something that like is actually ruining your day right now? Because if it is, then maybe you should ask yourself why. Yeah. And then like I start to have them figure out how to respond to other people to the point where they're just like uncomfortable. And I'm like, you should be uncomfortable because you're making me uncomfortable for no reason because I want to be better. Go fuck yourself. And then like everybody on the call, literally, they're writing it down and they're just fucking like jerking off to that shit later. And I'm like, let's go. Like, at the end of the call, everybody's like, let's go. Like even like women are like fucking like ready to fucking fuck dudes up.
Oh, it's great. So funny. So I'm not that savage, but the reason why I gave her that look right there is because sometimes she'll go to eat something, and she's extremely disciplined, but she'll go to eat something or have a drink, and I'll be like, no, I'll get water. You know, she'll be like, dude, live a little, or it's Christmas time, just have a piece of fucking pie. Or I'm like, dude, I don't want that right now. I am a fat kid at heart. We know this, but
everybody is though.
Yeah.
Everybody
but
is.
I think that's a good point to understand is like, it's okay to like have goals and stick to them. Like you don't have, your goals aren't your goal. My goals aren't your goals, right? Just because you're doing what you're doing doesn't mean we can't be friends and hang out. It's just like, I don't want to fucking eat that. Yeah. I don't want to drink that. I want to wake up at this time and go train. Yep. I'm structured. And that structure is like a snowball. Gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And then the results come from sticking to structure.
But how excited someone gets over the bite of cheesecake is the exact excitement that I get by saying no to the cheesecake. And that's the mindset you need to get to the other people. Is like get off on the fact that you are able to say no. Yeah. And then let that excite you. Because now you're a fucking rare ass motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's all about. Like so I actually changed the mission and values for my entire brand this year. And I actually never had one, which is, you know, if you have a lot of business people on here,
most brands have mission and value.
I never had one. Just one, because I wasn't a business person. I just fucking stumbled upon this whole thing. Mm-hmm. But second, like it's training, it's nutrition. Yeah. Like, what the fuck are you gonna say, right? You know, like I don't want to say like be 1% better every day, or like you know, be a better human, or like
75 hard.
All this shit, right? You need 365 consistency instead of 75 hard. But like,
I was just gonna talk about 75 hard. I want to do it.
But Jesus. Yeah. So anyway, right? I just was like, there's really not much to be said here. I'm like, the brand's doing well without it anyway. Like a lot of brands do well without it. But I started to think about it in terms of like, I got plateaued out on like happiness of making money, on happiness of like, you know, whatever I would build within the brand, whatever it was. But I was like, what is it about like certain brands that just stick out so much? And then like, how could I incorporate that into mine? Mm-hmm. And thinking about the things that we're talking about right now and saying no to the cheesecake and all that stuff, I actually created this thing where it's now my mission and values for the company now is to build a community of people who are built different. And not necessarily aesthetically speaking, but all the different decisions that you make you get different results than other people. Because I want people to get uncommon results from making uncommon decisions. So literally every single time that you have a decision in front of you that you know 99% of the people are going to take, I want you to make the 1% decision, because those different decisions get the different results. So every time I even start a weekly group call with everybody in one-on-one, I'm like, you guys all know that you're different here, right? And every single person who's new right now, your goal from this call is to make sure that after this, you do not make the same decisions that you've been making. Because if 74% of the people are overweight and then like 5% of people go to the gym, all we need to do is just show up. And we're already in the first, like the top 80. Like we've taken 80% out by just showing up. That's it. I think people misunderstand how easy it is to just like be in the top 20% just by just walking in the door.
Showing up and doing the bare minimum.
Yeah. I mean, it's true.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I have these same fucking conversations with my staff.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you just got to show up first and foremost. Right. That's a great point.
So be exponentially embarrassed if you're not in the top like 20%.
If you're not showing up, if you're inconsistent.
That's a good way to put it.
Like if you put your pants on in the morning, like you're already, you know what I mean?
No, it sucks.
No, but
like
it is a good analogy. Yeah. It's a very good point, because most people are so inconsistent with everything, with every course of action they take in life, right? And I'm generalizing, but most people are inconsistent. There is like, it's chaos. Every day is chaos. From putting on your pants in the morning, to what you're eating, to going to work, to dealing with your wife or spouse, to your children, to whatever it is. Like people, number one, can't make up their minds. Number two, they can't stay consistent.
Oh,
right?
well, I struggle a lot with like people's work ethic. Like I feel like it's so hard to find a good employee and like somebody with a strong work ethic. Like it literally does not exist. Mm-hmm. Like it's literally like finding a needle in a haystack. And to me, it's
and they
just
still
like,
want 10 grand a month.
I know. And the neediness and the demandingness and the amount of value that they bring to me, it's just like my salary, if I were to work for somebody else and not, like I'm in the fucking, I'm the anomaly.
It'd be triple. Yeah. It'd be triple for sure.
It's wild. That's what I struggle with is work ethic.
The sense of entitlement, thinking that if you just do something, things are just magically going to fall into your lap.
Dude, people's value right now is like, I've never seen anything like it. Like anything that I want to hire for anything is like starts at 10K a month.
Yep.
I had someone, I needed someone to do like video stuff for me. And I got a quote the other day. It was like 28 grand.
Well, especially for like online creative shit, for sure. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Cause it's so easy to become that. Like you can watch a YouTube video and be a videographer, you know?
You can go on Upwork
and
hire somebody in
now.
India. Yeah. Like it's so available. It's a skill set that not very few, but few do. But the few that do it really well can charge a premium for it, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's just a great point in general. Like the way the world is moving because of social media, they see people have things, right? They see the highlight reel and they think that like, okay, I could do that, or what I'm doing, I could charge a premium for. It's like that sense of entitlement. I'm just going to show up and I demand, my employer to pay me $30 an hour just because. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know how to run a business.
Yeah.
Right? Most people can't even run their own, like, let's say your life is a business, right? You're the CEO of your life. Most people can't even fucking manage their own life. Yet they want to go start a business, get raises at whoever they're working for with their employer. It's like, you can't even manage your own life.
I actually made a tweet one day where I was like, if your life was a business, would you invest into it?
Exactly. We talk about this all the time.
That's a good one.
No.
It's all about self-reflection, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all about making yourself proud at the end of the day. And that's like one of the things that I always think about all the time. Like whenever I'm thinking about making like a stupid decision, I'm like, would I actually be proud of myself at this in like a week from now?
He is growing up.
I know. I feel like he is.
He is growing up right in front of our eyes.
What do you think the biggest misconception of like entrepreneurship is?
I would say that you think it's going to be like fun and games and all that. I think this is like a very probably normal thing that people say, but like, you don't ever really have any time off. Even if you're on vacation, chilling in fucking Hawaii, whatever it is, you're still just like, I wonder how I make my content better. I wonder this, I wonder that. Like, they're just like, you're never off the clock. And I feel like everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but not everyone can be an entrepreneur, mainly just because not everyone can deal with that. Like, I know a lot of people, I'm like, dude, you would be a badass operator or like a badass behind the scenes person, but like, you don't want to be an entrepreneur. Kenny was like that. From the gym, like back in the day when me and this other guy who were big CrossFit competitors, we both kind of opened our own gym at the same time. And we were like best friends at the time. And I was just literally like, dude, I just don't think you want to do this, bro. Like I'm willing to grind all day, every day. Like, I don't think that you are. And he wasn't. He didn't really want to do it. And I already knew that. And like, you can kind of tell when you see somebody like,
I feel like what you're saying though, like going to Cabo or going to Hawaii and like wanting to work, like I want to do that, like not because I have to, because like I truly want to do that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's kind of like what makes an entrepreneur. Like it's either in your DNA and like that's how you operate, that's who you are. You're very high level and like to you it's kind of like it's fun, you want to grow or you don't. Like if you just go on vacation and you don't think about your business, to me that's not an entrepreneur,
Yeah, you're an employee at that point. You literally clocked out. You went on vacation knowing that your job is going to be there when you get back. Yeah. And when you get back, bink, you clock back in.
I think there's something extremely underrated about like being able to clock out and just live your life. Like for the person who doesn't want to be an entrepreneur or who isn't meant to be an entrepreneur, like you have a really kind of amazing life in a way
100%.
Because like when you can unplug like that, like I will never know what that feels like.
I'll never know what that feels like
ever.
Either.
Like, it just won't, because I've already been in it now long enough where like even if I had a job like that, like someone was like, hey, I want to make you the CEO of the company, you have all this great experience, I'll pay you $1 million a year, whatever it is. And then like as soon as like I clocked out at work and I could just like go paddleboard or whatever and just like not think about work at all, it would never happen for me anymore. But the fact that that's like a reality for anyone is like
you kind of envy in a way, but then you don't, because it's like you love who you are and how you operate, but it's like I do wish I could do that.
The only difference between a regular person and an entrepreneur is the entrepreneur has the ability to make exponential income and the other person is basically stuck, which is fine, depending on what your life goals are, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't really care to be like a billionaire or anything like that, but I definitely want like all of the toys. I want to be able to have like a significantly
You want to live an amazing fucking life.
Yeah. I feel like I'm doing mostly that now at the moment. Like I think a considerable amount of money more is probably not going to change my life that much. But I'm super purpose driven. So like if I didn't have anything to do all day, I would go fucking mental.
Yeah.
I got to build something. I got to build something cool. Like I got to have people like every single day where I go out. If I leave my house and I go to breakfast, I go to the mall, if I can do anything, I will meet at least 3 to 4 people that day. They're like, you changed my life. And like without that,
that's amazing.
my life's going negative.
Yeah.
That's good purpose.
Yeah.
Right? That's good drive. That's gas. Right? That's fuel on the fire. That's fuel on the fire that not a lot of people have.
Yeah, it's cool.
When you get results like that.
Yeah. So how do you maintain a work-life balance? Is it just like getting in those paddleboarding sessions and getting in your workouts? And
yeah, I have to do something outside. I just have to be outside is really what it is. Even if it's just a walk. Like I'm lucky enough to live on like this little island over here. And if I loop it, it's 2 miles. But like if I walk it, it's 2 miles. If I paddle it, it's 3 miles. But like if I don't do anything outside and get some vitamin D, good.
Go insane.
Yeah.
Definitely need a little vitamin D.
Are you in your house like literally all day long on the computer and phone?
Kind of, yeah. Honestly, by choice though. Like I'm not really getting that much farther ahead by doing it, to be honest. And a lot of it's like
I feel like you have so much on autopilot though, it seems like.
You would think.
And you're traveling. You choose to travel a lot. That's a passion of yours, and you can work remote. You can live the Tim Ferriss life, which is really cool.
I think probably the most impressive part about my business, for those of you guys who don't know, is like I have an app that has 40,000 people on it. I have like 43,000 people on it. And I have the one-on-one coaching system and like all these different things. And I only have one actual like real employee.
That's fucking amazing,
That's
dude.
so cool.
It's a full-time person who answers emails too. And she's a VA. And then
a VA in another country?
A VA in the Philippines. Okay. And then I have the 2 coaches, but like technically I have 0 employees. Every single person's a contractor.
Yeah, contract 1099.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's amazing.
Yeah,
and nobody works full time either. So it's like, I'm always thinking about different things that I can get into. Like at this point of my life, like I either want to keep growing what I already have. I'm essentially going to have to go all one-on-one. And then the front end will be the app. And that all of that money will just get burned for basically free client acquisition.
Will you still be putting ads into the course or the program?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the front end. It will be the app. And like, let's just say I even get to like spending $1 million a month or whatever. Like it doesn't really matter. It'll just all be free client acquisition for higher ticket items.
Got it. To get them into the funnel to become a high ticket person.
Yeah, which is cool because I don't have to pay for them. They'll be free. They'll just come in. They'll get some sort of.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically every info product in the world. Yeah. Mine just happens to be like a well-known app that will just become it. So it has a lot more trust in it.
Yeah. Do you want to stay like in this online space, or like have you thought about venturing out and doing something different in a different industry?
I mean, if I had my choice right now, which I'm sure I could do this right now, I'd love to go into the business route and teach other people how to do what I did, just because for me at this point, it just sounds more fun.
Have you looked into public speaking?
I would love public speaking.
Why don't you get into it?
Kill it.
I'm doing one in, I've done like 2 of them, but I'm going to Dubai in November and I'm doing like a big one.
I think you would be amazing at that.
I feel like they kind of run in parallel with like being a high level athlete.
Yeah.
And like, especially back in the day, CrossFit, you're either being timed or you're under time, right? And like public speaking is kind of like that. You're kind of like, all eyes are on you.
No, I mean, I would love, without a doubt, I would love that more.
You'd fucking kill it.
Yeah,
because I remember how savage you used to be screaming and yelling with the whole.
Oh, and I do that all the time on my weekly calls. But like, I think the coolest part of my story is to make it super short, because we don't have a lot of time, is like I grew up in a family with 2 brothers and 2 sisters. We were all completely different. I felt like I was literally a fucking alien in my own family. And then when I found out who my dad was when I was 18, I spent like the next like 6 years trying to figure out who he was and trying to talk to him. And then I met him when I was 24 under the pretenses that we were friends. So he didn't really admit that he was my dad because my mom had cheated on him and all this stuff. So like, it was just kind of like, he wanted to meet me, make sure I wasn't like a piece of shit. I wasn't. Yeah. And then we actually did the blood test and linked up last year. So then I just got back from his house. I was there for a week. We are the exact, like, I cannot tell you, like my other brother, I just told you he died from heroin just a couple weeks ago. My other brother was like a drug dealer my whole life. My 2 sisters are hairstylists. When I met my dad, he is a badass entrepreneur. He's been making millions of dollars for years. And someone just offered him like $15 million for his business last year or whatever. And he was like, no, because I don't even know what I would do. He does something way different than what I do. But at the same point, he wakes up every single day at 4:30 and he's in the gym. He built his own gym next to his house. Granted, this is someone I have never known my whole life.
Damn.
So crazy.
Built a gym
Kind of creepy.
right next to his house, like 10 feet away. And he's in there at 5:30 every day. He eats perfect every day. He looks
Damn.
exactly the same as me with his shirt off.
He's jacked?
Oh my, have you never seen him?
Show
I
me.
gotta show it to
Yeah.
you. He's 58, looks exactly like me
Where does he live?
in Florida.
That's amazing that you're connected with him again, because you're really close with your mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy because like even like his wife that he's married to now, like we were eating dinner just like a couple days ago, literally, and she's just staring at us and she's like, I cannot get over how insanely similar you guys are. But every single like second of my life as a kid was like my brothers were smoking weed, they were selling drugs, this was happening, that was happening, and like as much as you're a younger person in the family and you want to become more similar to your older siblings, there was something about me where I just was like, I don't feel like I'm in the right house, or like I don't feel like I don't know a lot, but I just know that like what you're doing is just not good. And then I just remember just being like, I just know that I have to get out of here. And I didn't even know a better life existed because I just grew up in New Jersey in this shitty little town. And as soon as I turned 18, I moved straight to Hawaii. And that was like my first move of just like being away. And then
That's such a big move.
I know.
yeah. You got
Like that's so drastic.
I can't even like there's no part of me that will ever be able to express to you like how much different your life is like once you figure out who your dad is and you know what he does for a living. And then like between 18 to 36, that was when like this whole thing, it's like we didn't really like finalize everything for 18 years, but like it's so strange to know that you're becoming the same version of this person that you don't even know. It's just like such a weird thing. And I feel
so
like
weird.
with public speaking, the reason I brought that up is like if I ever was to public speak, I would bring up that because I think genuinely that story is like proof that like we are all meant to do something. Yeah. And you might not know what it is, but I think deep down you kind of like know what it is, but you don't know how to get there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a lot of people. They don't know how to get there. And I also feel like something that stops a lot of people from starting is like the fear. Like, what if this happens? What if I never get there? What if I can't do this? What if this? Like, they just overthink the like starting process or going or moving. And that's what kills.
Even
I
social
think
media.
I think
like social media, like paralysis by analysis. People are comparison, right? The thief of all joy. Like people sit there and they just compare themselves all day long and they can't even start. They can't even put their first foot forward.
Dude, I actually agree with them though. I get paralysis by analysis now because there's just so much coming at you. Like I actually, every day I'm just like, maybe I should just get off of social media.
100%.
Like this is horrible.
Dude, there'll be, I'll go days.
This is horrible.
I'll go days without scrolling through my personal feed. I'll use the business one, but like literally I'll go days. I might like put a story up, but I won't scroll. Like fuck that.
That's why I unfollowed everyone on the Chalk account. I don't follow anyone on there because I'm like, if I go on there, at least it's like pretty clean.
Yeah.
You know? But like,
scrubbed it.
I'm going to introduce you to somebody who lives in, or he lives right here in Newport, like where we, like right down the street from you. And he is like a master at like helping people tell these stories for public speaking and like get into public speaking.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, he'd be a great connection. Okay, if you were to give one piece of advice to like future entrepreneurs, future dreamers, what would it be?
I would say to never underestimate your personal presence, like at all times. Like to bring the best version of yourself everywhere you go all the time. Because for me personally, I never really knew what was possible, but other people around me did. So when you bring the best version of yourself there, like, and what I mean by that is like, not like the cheesy kind of thing that everyone's kind of used to hearing, but like, be the person in the room that no one forgets. Whether it's the energy that you always have a smile, you're in better shape than everybody else. Like just like something about you that is different. Mm-hmm. That like when people are like, "Hey, what was it like meeting Ryan?" and you're like, "Oh, he was dope." And then you just don't forget it. Like there's just something about him because that is like what gave me the original kind of connection with my partner that I had for the gym, which got me the partnership with that girl who ran the ads for me, which got me to like become best friends with Alex Hormozy, who's like now one of the biggest people in the space. And it's just literally just like the way that I showed up. Like when I went to Alex's house, for example, I just sent him a DM on Instagram and he was like, yeah, come to my house. He wasn't really big yet. He only had 8,000 followers. And I like showed up to his house and I was supposed to be there for one day. And like the interaction that we had that day turned into like me staying at his house for 3 days. He's like, you want to just stay here and like hang out? And I was like, sure. And then I could tell he was going to be like a big deal. He was super smart. But I think, you know, the big thing here, like the big take home message basically is that like, you might not know where you want to be right now, but other people around you might know who you are without you realizing who you are. And I feel like there's just something super, super powerful in that.
It is powerful. It's people don't always remember exactly like what you say, like comments that are made here, but like I always remember the way you make me feel. Like you've left a lasting impression on me and her. Ryan went to our wedding. Like you've been a part of our lives forever. You've always made us feel great. And I always knew you were destined for something great.
Same.
Like I could just feel it in you. Just like.
But I feel like that's magic. I feel like not everyone has that. I feel like, again.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's figure outable though?
100%. If you're somebody who's like introverted and you literally can't talk to people, you could potentially be a badass writer. You know, have you guys seen Dan Coe? No. He makes like $4 to $5 million a year, never shows. I mean, he shows his face on YouTube, but he creates a newsletter. The newsletter gets trimmed into little pieces on posts on Instagram. His face is not on Instagram at all. It's just things that he writes. That's it. His newsletter, and then he literally he teleprompts his newsletter as a YouTube video. And like, that's the only time you get to see his face. And like, because of that, he has 4.5 million followers on Instagram. And he's like not small. He's fucking huge. Damn. And it's like, you just got to figure out what your thing is. And then even if you are an introvert and you want to be like this, then you need to fucking work on it. Just like you want to go do public speaking, like you just need to learn how to be like an energetic kind of person. Yeah.
And I don't think you need to have like entrepreneurial drive. Like not everyone is an entrepreneur. Not everyone, whether it's for because they were raised a certain way or not, or however they were programmed or whatever, but you can still.
Are you talking about me over there?
No, but you can still work for someone, a corporation, an organization. You can work for somebody and live a badass life.
Totally.
Right? If you know how to provide value and manage your finances and, you know, improve and innovate and help, right? An organization grow. Like you don't have to have like this entrepreneurial mindset. Cause like you said, and like we know, like entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Yeah. No. Right. It is not for everyone. No. And it is, we've talked about this before. It is glamorized, right? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. Life's great. The Lamborghini, the house, you know what I mean? It's not that. It's really not that. And you can still live a badass life by working for somebody else, working for an organization. But when you see somebody, whether it's you see it in yourself or you see somebody that you know is going to be special, like you said, that person may not know, but you might know. And I feel like it's our responsibility as human beings too, to gas somebody up, you know, to provide that positive feedback to somebody when they're going through something, a hardship or whatever, but encourage them to keep going. And that's something that I always saw in you.
Yeah. I think if you guys all think about someone that you need for something, I think you almost already right out the gate know who it is. Maybe maybe they cost too much money. Maybe they started their own thing. Yeah. But like, you kind of have an idea, like this would be perfect if this person had it. Yeah. And I think that's where it comes from. Yeah. My life would never be where it's at right now if it wasn't for other people helping me out.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I would never have had those opportunities if I was a shitty human. Or I just like, you know how many times I had a bad day and I just showed up. Remember when I coached every class every day at the gym?
I remember.
I had tons of days where I would just wake up and just be like, fuck, I fucked up, dude. I was making like 70 grand a year as a personal trainer. And now I'm making 40 grand a year owning the gym. Every day I woke up and I hated it. But I had the most fire classes. Yep. And then every single, and then like, I would like cry after class, but like I'd bring the energy while I was there. Yeah. And that's what you need to do to be able to, you know, put yourself out there and make other people, you know, think that you're the person that they need for everything. Yeah.
No, dude, you always had. I love it. You the structure, the fire in your belly, dude. I have training videos of you. I still have some. Remember that video where you back squatted like 5 and change? It was just you and me in the gym.
Yep.
The lights were off.
100%.
You were screaming at the top of your lungs. I still have that video.
Yeah. I got tons of videos like that.
Oh my God, it's great. Funny. Well, that's a good spot to leave off. Yeah, I feel
You're
like
amazing.
This is really good.
We're really proud of you.
We're so
Thank you.
proud.
What you've accomplished is really fucking cool.
It is really cool. It's unique.
And like we like, even I have been there since before all of this happened. Like,
Yep.
it's really, really cool to see what you've done.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. We admire it.
No big deal.
Yeah. NBD.
Because as an entrepreneur, you always feel like you're not doing enough. So like you guys are like, yeah, I'm really proud of you. I'm like, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, I guess.
living with.
Yeah. Okay, well, we love you
Yeah.
and thank you
Right
for
on.
being
Yeah.
here.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We take great pride in what we're doing here, and we hope we're providing you guys with great content and something that you guys can learn from.
Pretty please leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to us on, whether it's Apple, YouTube, or Spotify, and follow us on social media, Hello Dreamer Media.
Thank you.